Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to day 23 of the holiday card series for 2018. We're in the home stretch. There's only 3 more videos to go and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Today I'm going to be using a stamp set from Simon Says Stamp that I used a while back, a few months ago. It came out during September and I did 3 different card designs with that specific stamp set, and a bunch of you asked, hey, we want to see more ideas. So I'm going to use that stamp set. It's called Deco Borders and Corners. I'm going to pair it with a little bit of holiday product to give it some Christmas flair, but I hope you guys enjoy this card design. So let's get into it. I'm going to be using quite a few products from Simon Says Stamp. The first is that stamp set I just mentioned called Deco Borders and Corners. And for the greeting, I'm going to use this little banner shape that's in that stamp set. And I'm going to put some holiday words inside of it by using the Tiny Words Christmas stamp set. It'll fit right inside that banner. And I'm also using 2 snowflake dies, the Rina Snowflake and Ashland Snowflake dies. Starting out with some Schoolhouse red cardstock from Simon, and I'm just cutting this cardstock in half at 5.5. I'm going to be doing all of my stamping on this really large piece of red cardstock, and that's so that I can utilize the size of the large border stamp and cut it into enough background patterns for 4 cards. Starting out by placing this large border stamp onto the cardstock, and I'm just using that transparency grid as a way to put that big stamp down and not have it stick to the paper right away. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room with it. I'm prepping that red cardstock with an anti-static powder tool and then inking up my border stamp with Versamark ink. This is a really sticky ink and it's perfect for heat embossing, so that's why I'm using that particular ink today. So I'll swing the door of my MISTI over and gradually walk my fingertips over the entire area of this border stamp. I want to make sure I get a really good impression. Then I removed the cardstock from my MISTI tool and I used Brutus Monroe Icicle heat embossing powder. This is a clear heat embossing powder. They just call it Icicle. And I'm going to coat the entire border area. This is going to give me a really cool tone-on-tone effect, but then also have a little bit of that shine and sparkle from the heat embossing powder. I'm using my heat tool and going over each area, making sure it's melted, and then I'm left with this really intricate pattern from the background stamp. So like I did before, I'm going to use the transparency grid just to kind of place this on top, and you're getting a shot of my head because I got in there really close to make sure it was precisely placed. And I just repeated that border stamp below the first stamping. Again, I used that same ink and the same embossing powder, and then I hit it with a heat tool until it was smooth and melted. So you can see how it continues that pattern without any gaps. I'm going to stamp it one more time. So it's 3 border stamps in total. And this is going to give me a nice big area to work with when I create my 4 cards. So I'll hit that with my heat tool once again. And then this entire pattern is ready to go. I really love how intricate this pattern is. I think it looks really, really neat when it's embossed either with a clear embossing powder or with metallic embossing powder. So since I'm creating 4 cards, I'm using this piece of cardstock here, and I'm going to be stamping the corner of each, and I'll just rotate it. So you'll see what I mean here in a minute. So I'm inking up my stamp with my Versamark ink. I'll stamp that once, and then I'm going to rotate the cardstock, and I'll go ahead and stamp again. So I'm going to rotate it 2 more times, and this is going to leave me with that border, the little banner stamp, in each corner of this green cardstock. This cardstock is, let's see, I think it's green leaf or leaf green cardstock from Simon. And I'm going to have this have gold embossing powder on top instead of the clear this time. So after I've stamped all 4 of these banner shapes, I'll be applying some gilded embossing powder from Brutus Monroe. And I'm going to be doing the word stamping after I've embossed this banner. I found it was just a little bit easier to do it this way so that I was able to really see where to place the words. So I'll heat set that with my heat tool until it's smooth and melted. And stamping it like this and rotating the cardstock makes it super easy when it comes to placement for your greeting because you only have to line it up once. So I'll go ahead and prep all those greeting areas with an anti-static powder tool and then stamp my greeting in Versamarking. Once again, this greeting is from the Tiny Words Christmas stamp set from Simon. So I'll rotate this and then I can go ahead and stamp the greeting again. This makes it so fast and easy to get multiple greetings for multiple cards. So I'll go ahead and put on that gilded embossing powder and then heat set that with my heat tool until it's smooth and melted. I really loved this way of creating the greeting because it made it super fast and easy. So now that I have the greeting stamp completely done, I'm going to do some die cutting using those 2 snowflake stamps or dies that I showed you at the beginning of the video. So I'm going to cut each of these snowflakes 4 times so that there's enough snowflakes for 2 snowflakes per card. So I'll just run this through my Sizzix Big Shot machine. The cardstock I'm using is some Nina Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. And after I had all my snowflakes cut out, I then had to trim out my greeting areas. Now there is not a coordinating die for the Deco Borders and Corners stamp set, so I just used a ruler and a craft knife to do the initial cuts of each one of these banners. When it came to the ends of the banners, I used my scissors, and I'm going to walk you through how I cut this. I first started by cutting in from the corners to the middle. And I want to make sure that the angle of my scissors match the angle on the stamp. I then did a vertical cut going up and then also that angled cut from the sides. I'm going to show this to you twice, so if you're not getting it this first time, it's totally okay. I'll do another vertical cut that kind of lines up with that bottom line. And then I'll do another angled cut that matches the angles that I've already been using. So you can kind of see how it creates that tiered ribbon banner effect. So I'm going to show it to you on the other end as well, just so it's a little easier to see. Starting by matching the angle of the very end of the banner. I'm going to come in from both sides and have them meet right there in the middle. And then I'm going to do a vertical line going up just to right before that second corner. And then I'll do an angled cut matching the angle of the banner from each side. Then I'm going to do another vertical cut that goes right, kind of lines up with that third line. And then I'll do an angled cut on each side. And that leaves me with the perfectly cut out banner. And of course these angles aren't perfect, but they sure look pretty close because it's such sharp corners. I prepped 4 card bases for the cards. I'm using some Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110-pound cardstock, and I'm scoring these at 5.5 to create top folding card bases. So after I had all of the card bases put together, I cut down my red stamped piece. First taking off that edge on the side just so it's a pattern all the way to each side. And I'm going to cut this at 2 inches. So I'm going to create some 2-inch wide shapes to go on my cards. So I'll cut this one to 2 inches as well. And then I want sort of that organic edge at the top of each of these. So I'm going to preserve that edge and I'm going to make this be 3 3/4 tall. So I'm going to rotate this, and the pattern was a little far from that edge, so I did trim it so it was a little bit closer, turned it back around, and then trimmed it at 3 3/4 again. And I did this for the other piece as well. This makes it so that I get 4 cards out of that one stamping of that border stamp. Like I did before, I'll bring that pattern a little closer to the edge, rotate it, and then trim it off at 3 3/4. I'm going to use some Altenew Gold Foil Specialty paper, and I cut this paper to be just a little bit larger than the red cardstock. It actually ended up being 2 1/4 wide by 4 inches tall. And I used some Tombow Extreme adhesive to adhere the red cardstock onto the gold foil specialty paper. I then put some foam adhesive behind each one of these greeting banners and pressed it down onto the red cardstock. And that's the beginning of assembling my card. I then put some foam adhesive behind the gold foil and then press those onto each card base. The last thing to do was to assemble the snowflakes or adhere the snowflakes to my cards. So I used some Gina K Designs Connect glue and put little dabs of glue on all but 2 sections of the snowflake. The 2 sections are the sections that are hanging off the edge there. So I just used my hands and held the areas that did not need glue, and then I knew where to apply glue. So I'm going to adhere the smaller snowflake. Just going to turn that over and adhere it down below near the banner area. So that is all 4 cards. In total, this took me about an hour to make all 4. I think it's totally worth it for 4 cards. And I really love all the shine from that clear embossing powder and the intricacy of the background. I really love the patterns in that stamp set, and I was so excited to come up with a new idea, a new way to use those patterns, but on a holiday card. Hope you guys really love today's card. On screen, I've got 2 more videos for you to check out before you head out of here. These are the day 23 videos for years 2017 and 2016. And just like I've done with all my previous videos this year, if you want to see the day, like that day of the holiday card series, but years past, I'll have all of them listed down below, so you can check those out. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys on Wednesday for day 24.